Why do you do yoga?
It's a great question.
Why do I do yoga?
It's a great workout. Amazing physical exercise and workout.
It gives you a spiritual experience. You work hard, you sweat.
It really engages the totality of who I am as a human being.
It's empowerment. This is a strong practice. And the only thing that will ever transform you is practice.
My name is Kate. I've been practicing yoga for 7 years. The purest, most peaceful moments in my life have happened on my yoga mat.
If you just follow this path as a yogi, it will deliver you to every dream. It's the most beautiful path in the whole world.
The problem is, the closer I look at yoga, the more contradictions I find.
I just think it's funny that it's called Yoga Core Fusion Spa. Do you have a sense of how old
Yeah,
yoga is?
yoga's 5,000 years old.
It was 40,000 years ago that this Kundalini yoga started.
That's a good question. I don't know too much the history.
Some figures I've seen are 5,000 years.
I think of yoga as being a 2,000-year-old practice, but I'm not sure where I got that idea.
Within this multi-billion-dollar industry, it's hard to know who to believe, let alone which path to follow.
We have yoga
I have
studios.
a big studio in New York.
And
And I teach private classes. I live in Los Angeles.
And we're expanding to 18,000 square feet.
I have 2
I
books.
have 3 books.
I've written 4 books.
I have 4
A
books.
warehouse that ships out.
420.
Videos.
Even like cotton sheets.
Despite its obvious contradictions, I still believe there is a true yoga, a life-changing practice that can lead a person to happiness, maybe even enlightenment. I've been making documentaries for 9 years. I've been practicing yoga for 7. I decided to prove that yoga can transform anyone, physically and spiritually. My plan? Select a subject, introduce him to yoga, and follow him anywhere he goes until he finds a practice that transforms him. I need a novice, someone who will truly investigate yoga, yet is primed for change. I chose Nick, a journalist who recently left his job. In a few months, his life will be totally different.
Oh my God.
Okay, tell me your name, your age, and where you live.
My name is Nick Rosen. I'm 29 years old, and I live in New York City.
What do you do for work?
I worked as a journalist for a number of years in Colorado, South America, and back here in New York.
And where did you grow up, Nick?
I was born in Quebec, in the middle of nowhere, back in the early 70s. My parents moved up to Canada to get back to the land.
Are your parents married or divorced?
My parents divorced when I was 2 years old.
What do your parents do now?
My father is an attorney.
I do a lot of criminal law. I have a pretty big office.
And my mother is a shamanic healer.
I was immersed in the 12-step programs, and I really pretty much became a healer through being a person who needed healing.
Why are you interested in being part of this yoga documentary, Nick?
I'm really interested in exploring, not just for me, but for, society, the issue of yoga.
I don't know what it'll be like for Nick to undertake this project, really, or how it'll change him. I'd really be curious to see.
I don't expect any earth-shattering changes.
I know that Nick has a tremendous spirit. He's been exploring the wide world, and everything has been going out and going out and going out. So I see this as possibly some adventure starting that's going to be going in.
Like most yoga students, my starting point is the physical. In a lot of ways, physical fitness has been the clearest recipe for happiness that I've found in life. I find myself intimidated by the yoga project. Spiritual awakening is a concept I cannot even relate to at this moment.
Class. Does anybody have an issue?
I just go very slow. I don't know what I'm doing at all, so I can skip.
Fantastic.
Okay.
In the beginner's mind, there are many possibilities. In the expert's mind, there are few. So we are all going to aspire to be like you today. Come on, get your palm up. Yeah, good. Up, up, up. Stick your tongue out, go back. Bring that right arm around. Make sure you don't just swing it behind you, but you're really making the twist.
You ready, everyone? Take the flesh from your thigh, from your butt, open, right open. That's it. When you inhale, feel both sides of the chest expand and contract. And as you let go, the whole brain softens, and your consciousness can move up to the space between the brain and the top of the head. And when the consciousness moves into that space, you begin to experience Om.
When you say it's better than sex, what do you mean? Like, can you actually have that? No, I mean, I don't know what you mean by that, because some people, everyone has different preferences.
It's just this incredible, unbelievable feeling of goodwill and warmth and love and acceptance.
Right.
And you feel like I'm a
People have actually told me that you can have orgasms.
Yes, yes, you do. Yes, but even better than orgasm. Better than an orgasm I've ever had.
Oh, really? Yeah.
I'm like, oh my God, what is this? What is happening? I'm laying down in Shavasana and this thing is happening. So.
Let's get started. All right, so Nick, it's your first class. We have a water break after the fourth posture, so we ask you not to drink water until then. Stay focused, stay strong, and go. Exhale, ha. Slowly on the exhale, looking up towards the ceiling. That's it, slowly, and change. Here we go. Step out, and go. Sit down, and change. Good, deep breath. Here we go, nice and slowly. Stretching, 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 and change. Make sure you're breathing. Make sure that you're breathing. The eyes remain open. Nick, keep those eyes open. That's it. Deep breath.
When I got to be 62, I decided that I was going to make my body fit. From the first class, I knew I had something that was going to be my practice for the rest of my life.
Any advice for our young Nick over here?
To keep coming, you know, keep coming, Nick. You know. You're in the perfect place for the first day. But keep coming, and your sleep will be better, your love life will be better, you know, and you'll probably figure out some great ways to make more money.
So Nick, welcome to Kundalini Yoga. Kate told me a little bit about your life and your birthday, and there's a system of numerology that goes along with this yoga. Your birthday is 8/21/74, is that correct? Mm-hmm. It's easy for you to be friends with women, I would think, you know?
The number stuff doesn't make any sense to me.
Tell me so far, who's your favorite teacher?
Alan Finger. He was funny. He didn't take himself all that seriously. He's a fun guy. The people in the class were much more welcoming than the people at Cindy Lee's own yoga class, because they were all intermediate yoga experts,
What did you think of the Kundalini people?
They were a little Kundalini. They really kind of reminded me of my mom's new agey friend type people. Clearly not I don't feel comfortable around them.
Now that you've started to check out a couple of different teachers, what do you think is important to you?
I guess it's that their worldview is similar to mine helps. Slowly, but ultimately I think what I'm going to want is some kind of really physical practice. What's really made sense to me the most is people talking about how that the physical, that the asanas are a preparation for something, and that makes sense to me. I mean, because when I feel good, it's I feel much more closer to
Namaste, everybody. Thank you for coming. You raise your right leg. Don't bend your legs. Remember, God is everywhere. God is everything. Let me see here. Put your right leg there.
So you're sitting down.
Up and down, stretch. Only by His grace we'll be able to succeed. Is a good pose while you're in line waiting for the bus. Be careful now. Close to the front. Okay. Away from my hand. Yeah, like this. Now stay here. Stay between my hands. Perfect. Perfect. You feel like you're almost falling this way.
But you're not.
Yeah, don't fall too much here, though you can't hold too long.
Yeah, putting a lot of pressure
right. Try again.
I loved your class today. It was really, really great. And you have a great teaching style. It's very, very spiritually oriented and very, you talk a lot about devotion and I'm not really a spiritual guy. I just wondered if you can tell me sort of how I should relate. How can I start to think about it? How should I relate to what you're talking about?
Well, I'm glad you said that, because when you did that affirmation that you don't know, you're not spirit, actually you are. Because most people who say that I am this, I am that, they in reality not. Yeah. The real gurus and saints, they always say, I am nothing. I don't know anything.
$18 million Americans now practice a Baskin-Robbins variety of yogas. There's yoga for kids, yoga for dogs. Yoga is changing the lives of untold numbers of Americans. I'm thinking about my way of life. Do I want to change?
Free at last.
I guess this might be a good time, maybe, that you all could ask Nick just simply, what do you want?
Okay.
You know.
Nick, why are you here? Why did you come to all this
I have to go to the bathroom.
You want to say, you want that on film?
Yeah. What are you looking for? Are you a seeker?
Nick, why did you come to visit us?
You know,
it's sort of like I'm not looking to believe anything beyond sort of what
can be proven
comes
to you.
easy, what can be proven to me. I'm very, it's very like sort of evidence-based.
Then you came to the right place.
Almost a journalistic
The yogis
approach.
are very practical-minded. We agree. Everything you said, we want the experience of it. We want to feel it to be true. We don't want to take someone's word for it.
In our yoga center, we have a sign right before you go into the asana rooms, "Are you ready?" And that means just what it says. Are you ready?
And only you can answer that.
We can't say, yes, you're ready. Look, if you have any doubt in your mind that you've experienced all that life has for you, and you really are interested in the possibilities that the yoga practice could hold for you, then you need to surround yourself with a group of people that stimulate that burning desire.
When I first came back from India, I was very, very excited. I was 19. I had basically seen God 100 times, or at least I thought I did. And I came back to America, and I just couldn't help but tell everyone what I had seen. And they thought I was really crazy. My parents sent me to a psychiatrist and tried to have me put into an institution. So that's why they say, don't go to the banks of the Yamuna. Stay away from that Krishna. If you see him once, you will never be the same. And there's like almost, warnings, avoid this path.
What do I have to lose?
What do you have to lose?
Everything is losable.
I don't know. It depends on what you're ready to give up.
I woke up in a funk. I'm gonna stop drinking for a while. Last night I had a dream that I couldn't even remember my own last name. I was surrounded by beautiful women, and then a sudden crash of a horrible car accident. Okay, I'm here on a Saturday reading A Search in Secret India, which Kate has prescribed for me to read for the purposes of this film. It's written by this guy, Paul Brunton, who is a journalist, one of the first Westerners to go in search of true yogis. The fact that he's a journalist is really key because he's a guy who is very fact-based. He's not religious. There's several excerpts from the book that I just thought were particularly poignant. I've not wandered to distant parts of the world merely to hear religious assertions or declarations of grandeur. I want facts to which I can testify for my own satisfaction. That's what I'm looking for here in this experience. It's not going to be enough for me to just meet a very charismatic person with a convincing rhetorical style. It's not going to be enough for me to be taken with anyone. I need facts. Yoga seems like this timeless Indian practice.
Yoga as we know it today is really only about 100 years old. Without documentary evidence, you're left to conclude that it was really reinvented towards the end of the 19th century.
So the title of the book that you're working on is The Sinister Yogi. Could you explain that?
In popular South Asian traditions that have a pedigree going back at least more than 1,000 years, the image of the yogi is of a kind of sorcerer, a wandering mendicant who comes into a village and leaves in his trail death and destruction. So this is a whole side to the phenomenon of the yogi that has been ignored in scholarly and popular literature. And it really is the image of the yogi that if you ask a villager in India or Nepal today, what's a yogi, that is the sort of answer they'll give you. The yogi is the boogeyman. Yogis steal away children. Yogis steal away the daughters of villagers.
What are you doing with all this information? Like, what's your intention of these people you want to talk to, figuring out what yoga is? You know, is it just for your own personal benefit you want to figure out yoga?
Well, it's partly for my own personal benefit, and I'll probably end up explaining, if I can come to any relevant conclusions in all this, I would like to explain it to people by writing an article or something on what I discover.
Why? Why do you think that's important?
I mean, I always think it's important for people to learn about things if they're true. And, you know, it's enlightenment. I had a great conversation with the 3-time world champion pro wrestler, Diamond Dallas Page, famous for his signature diamond cutter takedown. DDP is making a go of it as a yoga teacher. He was touting his new concept, yoga for regular guys. It's for guys who wouldn't be caught dead doing yoga. Diamond Dallas Page.
Slick Nick.
How you doing, man?
You're late. Let's
Sorry,
go.
dude.
Starving, man.
How did you get into yoga?
Well, at 42 years old, they told me that my wrestling career was over because I ruptured my L4 and my L5 so bad in my lower back that this was my flexibility right here. That was it. I started doing yoga. I'm 48 on my first comeback. But to sit around, the humming and the chanting, that's not what yoga for regular guys is. Ours is about the workout, you know, and sweating your ass off. When you get to India and you got some guy doing, I want you to walk up and blast him with the chair. To say, hey, that's what they do in yoga for regular guys.
Where do the girls come into this thing?
Well, for me, to grab the guys, there's got to be an element. And where yoga opens with namaste, mine's more about TNA. Like that one?
TNA.
Going down. 3, 2, 1. Hold it there.
We all hauled our mats out onto a courtyard on the side of his house. Kind of LA space that is at once chic and chintzy, like a porn movie set.
Exhale, squat and drop. Breathe in and just reach your hands out in front of you as if you're reaching for a ball. Inhale, reach up again in that thunderbolt position and lean back and feel the bang.
This is the diamond cutter?
That would be it, dude. You want to get a good shot? When the girls come up in the cat lift, you should definitely get a shot of that. Inhale, roll up in the cat lift. Roll those shoulders back. Great view, huh, Nick? Thanks for coming, guys. And we'll still do for the yogis out there, namaste.
TNA.
And TNA.
How about enlightenment?
Okay, Nick. What's your personal attitude towards yoga right now?
I'm in a bit of a holding pattern with my yoga practice. It's had some noticeable effects on me physically, but, you know, I'm certainly no closer than I was when this all started to buying into supernatural ideas or spirituality.
Are you really doing it, though, every day?
No, I've definitely missed, you know, a few days or the last...
You're kind of getting more and more lackadaisical about this.
Well, I think that's your conception of it. It's not really mine. I guess, you know, it takes a lot to change someone's worldview. It's not just, you know, done with a few, like, yoga classes.
I don't understand. Where are you getting worldview? Just talk about, like, what about your peace of mind? Why does it have to be worldview? Why isn't just Nick Rosen and peace in his life? Where are you going, Nick? No, keep driving. Where are you going?
So I'm going to visit Norman Allen, the first American to learn Ashtanga yoga from Pattabhi Jois and bring it to the United States. He lives out here on the big island of Hawaii, relative obscurity, unlike all these other celebrity yogis we've been seeing. This guy, nobody practically knows about him.
Okay, that's enough talking.
Nick Rosen.
Nick Rosen, glad to meet you.
Pleasure to meet you, man. Pleasure to meet you. Wow, you're way out here, huh?
Well, so you wouldn't. Do you know about nature and things like that, farming and everything?
Well, I was born on a farm.
These are coffee flowers.
Coffee, yeah.
But you see, it's all want to make flowers.
I'm crazy about coffee.
You want some organic coffee? I can put that on. I'll put some coffee on.
I love this guy. You went to India in search of something.
Went on that pilgrimage the first time.
Spiritual.
Huh?
Yours was a pilgrimage.
Yeah.
I'm more like, you know, a lot of people these days doing yoga. I'm sort of, you know, I'm after this. It's like physical and mental fitness. Yeah. But I'm still very much rooted in the material world. When I'm twisting myself into a pretzel in the yoga studio, I'm thinking,
what is this going to...
What the hell is the connection between this and enlightenment?
Nothing. Absolutely nothing.
So why are we doing it?
I don't know. You're doing it.
How you doing, Kate?
Ask him about moksha. Moksha.
The monarchs here are beautiful. So how long ago did you create this library?
That's a good question, huh? So, here is the start of my library, since you've asked that question.
This was the first book.
30-something years I've had that book.
The Bhagavad Gita is that important?
A Gita is important depending upon who interpreted it for you.
Yeah.
Read that.
The
Nice.
sum total of the habits of a man is his nature.
Okay.
It has come about as a result of his giving himself over to the bent of his mind. It's good stuff.
Yeah, good stuff, huh? They're all trying to explain that one thing, huh? But
what do I have to grab onto to know that that exists, though? And
well,
it's not
you want to
that
grab
we're
on,
all...
you put your hand in the back pocket and squeeze, man. That's always good. Did you read that book, In Search of Secret India? You didn't like that book?
I did like it.
He was a journalist, too,
Yeah.
just like you.
Well,
And
that's what
just
I
like
like.
the trip you're taking.
Well, that's what I like. See, Paul Brunton, you know, when he's writing this book and he's going to India, he's saying, look, I'm a journalist. It's not enough for me to listen to some guy who says that,
Right.
you know, he's enlightened
like
and
you, huh?
here's how to do it. He says, I need to know. And when he meets Sri Ramana Maharishi, he sits down in front of the guy and he's just like, oh my God. He doesn't even have any questions for him. He feels his vibrations and it's just obvious. Everything falls away.
Yeah.
Here's an enlightened being.
You want to find somebody like that, huh?
Well, I wouldn't mind. That's the quick way, isn't it?
It's not the quick way. It's the long, hard way, huh?
Well, that's the long, hard way. What's the quick way?
Just knowing, huh? Just, that's it. We just light on or the light off, huh? That's where it's got to go. It just extends out, huh? Like that. Now you can take hold. Right? You got to press down here, otherwise it's not going to be square. So that's what I'm going to do to you. Then I want this all up. Now I'm going to just take this hand and turn it. Let go. I want this hand to go like that. Now you come up. Keep this up. So I need this whole line up more. Breathe. Don't hold your breath. We drop this down. We pick that up and turn it. Don't let that droop down. Got to pick up the whole line. Good.
So this is your massage studio?
Yeah, mine and my daughter's.
Oh. 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 So we got karma, right?
You bet.
And karma is based on the way you work out your karma is through reincarnation,
The job
right?
is to eradicate all of your karmas.
Oh.
You don't do nothing for the small self.
That's a tall order, Norman. Pretty much everything I do is for my small self.
Yeah.
Hungry, I'm horny, I'm jealous, whatever.
Yeah.
Do you manage to do that?
What?
Don't do anything for your small self?
That's my wife.
Oh.
Just hang loose.
Ooh.
Hang loose. And what was you saying? You was feeling like what? Did you, you were hungry? Oh, tell me all those things again if you remember.
Yeah.
Say it again.
Hungry, horny, sleepy, jealous, greedy.
Boy, you know what you got to do? Go fuck yourself. Okay.
We
with
good?
that, with that one.
All right.
That's how I close all my massages.
Norman, you know how I was all kind of messed up in class today? Yeah. I'm feeling super tight in my hamstrings.
Right.
My whole body
Yeah.
kind of aches. I have a headache.
Yeah.
The most different thing I'm doing is this intense yoga with you, in the morning.
Oh, you're blaming it on me now.
Well, it's not a blame thing, because it's just change, you know what I mean? But I'm just wondering if you know what it's all about.
Am I been pressing you harder than you've been doing? Usually been pressed?
A little bit, and a little bit
In
more.
what area? Or you've been pressing yourself, or have I been pressing you?
myself.
And I told you not to. I keep telling you not to resist, but you got compulsed into, accelerating your practice in a short period of time, thinking that you're going to get the token if you can, get your legs around your head or something like that, and the bell's going to go off. It ain't happening like that, let me tell you, huh? Taking an accelerated yogi course. Too many cooks in the kitchen.
I have a couple questions. When I was here on a previous trip, you said you really want to know what the secret of yoga is.
Who said that?
You did to me.
I asked if you wanted to know that.
Yeah, and I said, yeah, what is it?
Yeah? You want to see if I remember what I told you?
Yeah, I'm curious. If you don't, I know you said it was moksha.
Yeah. Well, moksha, mukti, that's release. That's what we talked about bondage time. It's liberation, huh? That's a jiva mukti. Mukti come from moksha, huh? Jiva mukti, that's a soul liberated while in body, huh? Like that. But Nick, when I told you to go fuck yourself, that's a tantric thing. That's the complete round, to go back to the complete S. Inside your whole unit, not needing another entity, huh? To confuse the matter, huh? of all the taping and all the things that we talked about, that was the most, as far as I'm concerned, the most significant thing that you might want to reflect upon, huh? Tell you the truth.
Now, does that mean I have to stop having sex?
So where am I at? My father says the most important thing is to accept yourself for who you are and be happy with it. Will yoga change my life? Depends on what your standard is, I suppose.
Going to my first day of yoga at the Ashtanga Yoga Research Institute.
What time is it?
In Mysore. I think it's a little bit before 6 a.m.
What was your initial gut reaction?
Kind of interesting experience. I kind of feel like an outsider here because I've been doing Ashtanga for a couple months, but it certainly hasn't come to sort of dominate my psyche the way that it seems to for these yogis. My gut reaction was a little bit of a cult situation going on there at the Yogashala.
The greatest thing in life is to realize God in everything there is.
That's what I'm looking for, is to reconnect with myself, which for me also means reconnecting with God.
Luis, are you a spiritual guy?
Oh, very much.
Now, where is your sense that this tradition comes from?
God?
I want to ask him, what is yoga?
Huh?
Yoga ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಏನು ಅಂತ?
Yoga ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ?
ಏನು ಅಂತ?
Yoga means
Your mind controlling capacity, taking practice, that is yoga. Yoga is chitta vritti nirodha. Chitta means is mind control. Now your mind is not control you. Your mind is searching all the places. That is not good.
Is this practice spiritual or physical?
Both. Both.
If I'm not a so spiritual person,
Why?
I can do the practice?
You take practice. Take this practice, automatically is coming. That is, take practice, 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 that is method. Don't ask theory. Theory don't want. Two methods is there, outside, inside. Outside method, practice asanas, pranayama, asana, yama, niyama, asana, pranayama. Inside, pratyahara, dharana, dhyana, samadhi, inside method. Outside, correcting, possible. Inside, not correcting, impossible. You follow, practice, 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 practice. Last moment inside, God is looking possible. 1 month, 2 months, 1 year, 2 years, 10 years, no use. Whole life is practice. That is method.
Thank you.
You want a photo?
I love a photo.
आज एक अमेरिकन टीम है टेलीविजन की
In some ways, I just need my own way of making sense of yoga.
और
I went to visit the world-renowned guru of giggling, Dr. Madan Kataria, who's pioneered a new form of laughter therapy, Hacia yoga, or laughter yoga.
Okay, this time we're going to drink, and pour on our heads. Okay. Pour on our heads, okay? We ready?
And why do you guys do laughter yoga?
I like it very much.
I'm feeling happy.
Whole life is cheerful now and very active.
How did you find out about Dr. Kataria?
It was a very sophisticated spiritual device called the internet.
Many Indians do yoga. But what we have done in Laughter Club is we combine laughing exercises with yoga breathing and some stretching exercises. That makes it a laughter yoga.
Hold it.
The goal of yoga is supposed to be like enlightenment, right? And can that be achieved through laughter yoga?
Why not? Why not? It's much simpler. There are two ways we can become spiritual. One is by religious, meditation, yoga stuff. And I believe that's very long and very difficult. It takes years to become spiritual. And another way you can become spiritual is raise your spirits and raise someone else's spirits. You're spiritual. You don't need to spend hours in temple chanting mantras. You play like a child, flow from your heart with your love, with your compassion, appreciation, forgiveness. You're spiritual. You don't have to go to temples.
There I was, laughing at the laughter, laughing at the absurdity of the situation, laughing at the absurdity of all existence.
We are the happiest people in the world! Yeah! We are the healthiest people in the world! Yeah! We are Laughter Club members!
Do you really believe that yoga is anything more than a workout?
I don't know if it's a path to realizing the higher self.
Okay.
But I think that there are a lot of important ancillary benefits on the way to that destination that are more than just a workout.
I gotta say, you sound like you're hedging big time. I don't really believe what you're saying.
Okay.
I don't believe that you really have that much faith in it right now. I don't. I don't believe that you take it that seriously.
Mm-hmm. Take what seriously? Take yoga seriously?
Well, I mean, the potential of yoga to really have any impact.
Well, let me tell you, I don't think that, I mean, it depends what you mean by impact. It depends what level of impact you're talking about. I mean, we've been throwing around the word transformation a lot, and I'll tell you, I don't feel any real transformation. I'm telling you honestly, I'm not going to be so arrogant as to say that my experience defines yoga's potential.
But do you think, honestly, that there's still room there, or have you written it off? Honestly.
Well, I guess I just don't know. Today we had an interview with the legendary BKS Iyengar. It's he, more than anyone else, who's responsible for the current yoga craze in the West. In the creative hands of this 86-year-old man, yoga became a truly physical art. I was nervous because I'd heard tales about the intense character and shifting tempers of the man they called the Lion of Pune.
Mr. Iyengar, would it be okay if I put a microphone on you? Okay. I'm the director, asked what you sound, but it was my idea that I should find someone who was a beginner and new to yoga, and he would be like a guinea pig.
Oink, oink.
And so
should we just start up? Is it okay to start up with some different questions?
Actually, we have some questions about your work and Iyengar yoga and things like this.
Hey, so if you could first maybe tell me the story of how you first came to yoga.
Well, I was an unhealthy child in my house, and I suffered from birth, I can say, till the age of 22, 23. My Guruji told me, if you do some asanas, you may get health. I thought there's something like, first time I'm hearing somebody saying that you gain health. But health only I realized after 7-8 years of practice.
What was your guru's name?
T. Krishnamacharya.
What were the yoga teachings that he imparted?
How to keep the body under control.
So you, at that time, you were just looking at
purely on a physical level.
Purely on a physical level.
Even, no doubt, my Guruji was a great philosopher.
And did he teach you that philosophy while you were...
I told you it took me 6 years after yoga to gain health. When health was not there, what can I think of philosophy? Tell me. I was struggling, just let me stand on my feet. The philosophical teaching came to me only after 1960, not before.
What is the goal of yoga? By
the grace of God, it's a subjective way of eradicating the instinctive weaknesses of human being. It may be quick, for some it may be slow, but change has to take place, transformation has to take place, whoever it may be, in whatever average intellectual condition they are.
But asana, then, the way you're describing it, it's a preparation for receiving the spiritual...
No doubt it's a preparation, but everything is hidden in it also. Yoga can take a man into two ways of living. Enjoyment of life or liberation in life.
So does it not matter that if...
It doesn't matter at all. You want to improve, I want to improve, same.
Yeah.
You want to be a better intelligent man, I want also to be a better intelligent man.
That's a huge relief that you say that, Guruji. I'm basically a man of this earth, and I don't have much religion or anything. But lots of yoga teachers talk about how this is all a goal to connecting with this higher self and the Brahman.
The channels are open both ways, I'm telling you now.
Yeah.
This is the way how you use it.
on the mindset.
What was your impressions about Iyengar?
BKS Iyengar was cool and said a lot of really interesting things about his development of yoga. So I can just shut out all of this stuff about spirituality, and I can still believe that there is no higher power. Our consciousness is in no way a conduit to enlightenment or anything else.
Okay. So what are you going to do tonight?
Well, it depends what time I have to get up in the morning, but hopefully if I have the time, there's this one cute girl at the yogashala, and I might go out with her. I don't know. She said we'll talk later, so see what happens. I haven't, like, had a date or even been alone with a girl for months now, so... Well, no girl except you. No, if the camera's coming, it just won't happen.
Look, if you're going out, the camera's coming.
Well, I guess I'm not going out then. It's happening now. I'm going out on the town. Yeah, so I'm going out for a little Mysore socializing. Forget about yoga as much as possible for a couple hours, but I gotta get up at like 4 a.m. tomorrow for my day of intensive silent meditation. So it's gonna be an early night either way. They're all early nights for me these days.
I'm pretty sick of yoga. I'm sick and tired of, like, trying to get Nick to be meaningful. The bottom line is that it's more about practice and discipline and commitment. And they're like, I just want to change. So I thought maybe I could make somebody else do it, and then maybe I would too.
This morning, I went out on the roof deck, and I found Kate in tears. I went to do my meditation. I fell asleep. When I woke up, I was back home, on the phone with Jet. We were hatching some plan with some girls. Maybe we can take turns with them both, he said. Before going out, I had to drive my mom to get something for the special onion soup she wanted to make herself for dinner. I couldn't find the right health food store, and it was getting late, so I decided I was just going to stop at a bodega. My mom wasn't sure if they would have the right stuff. It seemed like I was going to miss out on the whole night with the chicks, and finally said, "You know what, Mom? I can't do this. I gotta go." Almost instantly, I realized I'd crossed some terrible line, and then I just started sobbing. I remembered Kate asking whether I'd ever had one of those breakdown moments from yoga, where you just start crying and release everything. I miss my mom.
I have a question.
Yeah.
It seems like a lot of your internal battles are between your mother's influence and your father's influence. So how do you think that battle plays out with you taking this practice on as part of your life?
There is a kind of duality between my father's influence and my mother's influence in my life, about hard-headedness and skepticism on the one hand, and kind of whimsy and love on the other. And so it is I am sort of I would be maybe confronting a bit of an identity crisis if I was to really give myself over to the practice. It was Thanksgiving a few days ago, and I was hit with this sense, probably stronger than I've ever had, that I really need to value and nurture my relationship to my family. It's just so intense that that I've been running away from it. I just get like completely freaked out about it. I get freaked out the moment I think that I'm going to lose someone in my family without resolving what I want to resolve with them. I don't know why doing yoga is making me think about my mother and my relationship to her. I don't know if it's...
Do you think, being here in Mysore and being in this kind of more open environment, do you think that creates an opportunity for you to be more reflective?
Well, yeah, I think there is things that... there are things about the healing nature of this place that remind me of my mom. Our first day in Vrindavan. Shamdas says, for Indians, the real yoga is bhakti yoga. No headstands, no downward dog, just full-fledged loving of God. That's it. So why is it yoga?
Krishna, Krishna. Let's bow. You should bow down. You should bow down to her.
Oh, Shamdas, I can't be clean.
Now, don't look at that. Just go on. The whole world is a manifestation of God. Our eyes are able to see God.
No way!
No. Come on, don't worry. God is with you, or at least with me.
Oh my God!
See, serve God. Jai Krishna, Jai. Nico naam diya hai, America ka yoga student. He has been on a yoga journey.
I see.
And he's been doing asana yoga.
Most of people misguided about yoga.
Asana yoga is a physical activity.
You can't get any energy of yoga from asanas. First step of yoga, that's called postures. Only you can get health.
योगा जो मेडिटेशन करके होने वाला है वो नहीं कर पाते.
So he says, look, people are doing yoga maybe because they want to get a little better body or healthy. He says, and that more and more people will be practicing that in the West. But what is the true yoga? That is not the yoga, because the real yoga is the yoga of bhakti. God.
I only pray God.
I have no spiritual practice. How does he reconcile?
ये भी कहते हैं कि हमको भगवान में विश्वास नहीं है तो हमारे लिए आध्यात्मिक स्तर पर कैसे
नहीं ऐसा कुछ भी नहीं है कोई नहीं मानता भगवान को.
He says that is just your ignorance.
Make one goal, that is God.
God.
That's the main achievement.
I've heard it described in all these ways, though. You know, once you reach enlightenment, you become almost omniscient, and you know what's going on everywhere in the world, and have almost a cosmic knowledge. Is this true?
Definitely, your consciousness is just what you call
raised.
Raised, definitely.
So you become more aware.
More aware of what? More aware of God.
I think we need to go back a little bit. You have basically, there are only two options in terms of the general yoga Vedic arena. One is that you follow the path of either yoga or Sankhya, where you, through your effort of asana, you will be able to come to realization. The other path is that you don't believe in the ability that you can do it yourself, so you take the help of another. Okay, now that's what bhakti is.
This isn't for me, a religious quest.
What are you looking for?
I guess, well, I don't know.
I'm
trying to understand this practice. When I go home...
How many years do you have?
When I go home, I'll just tell... What do you mean? How many years?
How many years in India?
Have left?
Yes.
Oh, I have just about a week left.
Left, okay. So you are trying to understand something that takes lifetimes to understand a single system.
आरती कृष्ण कन्हैया की आरती कृष्ण कन्हैया की अधर धर मुरली बजैया की आरती कृष्ण कन्हैया की अधर धर मुरली बजैया की कृष्ण.
This hill is encircled by more people than any other hill or mountain in the world.
And what's the significance of the encircling?
Parikrama, when you encircle it, you are paying respect. So giving honor to them on all sides, literally. Some people encircle the hill by lying down. They will put down 108 stones. They'll only move the 7 or 8 feet after they've bowed down 108 times. 108 one takes 4 to 5 years. And the Guruji's name here is Guru, teacher, Sharan, refuge, Anand, bliss. He is the Guru of the blissful refuge. See, you should hit him up on what's the best yoga for you.
I will. Well, it's not. Let's don't start asking the questions.
This is my friend and yoga student, Nick or Nico. Okay? He has been asking me many questions, and I wanted him to ask you, because you are the right man. This man, Swamiji, Guruji, he knows many languages. He speaks to me in Sanskrit. He speaks to me in Braj Bhasha. He speaks to me in Hindi. He speaks Bengali. He has studied in Kashmir, which is the great seat of learning in India. And he lives in Braj, which is the seat of
And luckily, God arranged for me. I'm a science student too. I'm a student of philosophy also. And I'm a student of religion also. I also, in a very important ashram in Rishikesh, I was a yoga instructor there.
Oh, really?
Yes. And so, you can ask any type of question, as many times as you want.
If I ask anything that's a stupid question or in any way offensive, please forgive me because
questions are never stupid.
Okay.
Answers are stupid. Yes, my child.
Yoga for me has been, well, sort of a multifold tool physically that I've used to try to focus my mind a little bit. And I think that my goal is perhaps modest in terms of yoga. It's simply to be happy. What is your impression of the way that we are practicing yoga in the West? And
I'm really not acquainted how you are really doing Ashtanga yoga in West. And most of the time these asanas are used for physical strength. Asana is more of the thoughts, more of the inside, and very less outside. And what we are doing is 98% outside, maybe 2 or 3% or 1% inside.
So I'm looking at the Bhakti Yoga, and I'm wondering, what is the connection between what I'm practicing at home and this? They seem not only worlds apart, which they are, but they seem almost like separate philosophies, separate practices.
It's a very good question you are asking, my dear. Let me put it this way. You came to meet me. You could have come by cycle. You could have come by car. You could have come by elephant. You could have come by foot. To reach here, there are so many directions. That depends on you where you are at present. Because, let me say, you are the most important person under the sun. What is East? From where does East begin? You are the center point. From you, this is East. For me, East could be different. This place could be West to you, but for me it is East. So you are the most, or let me use my word, mostest important person under the sun. What we say that it's not important what you are doing. It's important why you are doing.
What do you mean?
So you can prepare food for your just consuming. You can prepare food for somebody you love. And you can prepare food for your Ishta, Bhagavan, Lord. To Lord. So the action will be the same, physically, but inside it will be very different. And if you are forced to do some cooking for somebody you don't like, then you will do it. You will cook, but you won't enjoy it.
The same thing could be said for yoga, that...
Anything, my dear. Anything absolutely under the sun. Everything depends on you, hangs on you. So you should feel the importance of yourself. You are the most important person. For any decision, all the decisions, all the practices, or any practice. And again you said how to attain happiness. Yes, that's important. Let me put little stress on it. How much hard you are working there. Is there any happiness there? You will have to question yourself, where can we get that happiness?
You should go for the heart issues, enough of the brain stuff.
Well, you keep saying that, Shamdas, but you might be able to gather from this conversation that you said, take what feels comfortable, what feels right. I am a godless guy from New York City. It doesn't make sense necessarily for me to embrace Bhakti and Krishna because it's not my own... Yeah.
I never said to you that you embrace Krishna. No, never embrace. Never do it. If you don't like it, don't do it. Go on practicing what you are doing. If you want to believe in God, believe. If you don't want to believe, don't believe. And still you could be a religious person.
And what would make you religious or spiritual if you don't believe
in yourself. Be your true self.
It's not so easy for me to just... Sometimes I don't trust myself to say, okay, I'll just find my true self. Are there specific practices that one can engage in to help?
As much as possible. Try to get rid of what you are not. And you are unnecessarily wearing on yourself. Try to get rid of. Happiness is not outside. It is within us. See, for instance, our sweet Kate is here. She is the same person she will be the same person. Somebody will see her and he will simply jump, "Oh, Kate, you have come." See, dirty Kate has come again to see me. Has she made any change? It's ourselves. Kate is a very lovely person, but not for all.
I think I'll call her Dirty Katie from now on.
Are you okay, Nick? You seem kind of really tired.
I'm not particularly tired.
I think you're sort of blown away by today's
Mellowed
experience
out.
a little bit, huh? It's not
I'm sort of just speechless about it.
Yeah, right, I see that. Well, you know, sometimes it's better. They say, pragati hite rasajai. If you speak about that, which is very sacred, it goes. Sometimes it's better to not say anything. Rasika pritama sangamiki bate. Of that divine union, don't say it to anyone. Najatu yamo yatama bhavati te payapanata yamopi bhagani sutam gatam hanti dustamati.
So, Nick, tell me what is going on.
Well, I'm about 10 hours away from leaving India and going home.
Why are you going home? You've been considering staying before.
Yeah, well, actually, for a long time I had thought that I would stay for much longer through the holidays and for a couple more months just to explore India, do some more yoga. I don't know, but I've become, I think over the course of the last couple months, I've really begun to miss my family, and I'm just compelled to go see them.
What is your feeling of what yoga is as of right now?
I don't know. Yoga has no simple definition. I mean, yoga is different things to different people.
What is it to you?
To me, for my personal, it's been interesting because I'm not sure what it is for me. Basically, it's just something I do every morning that makes me feel really good, physically very good for me, increases my flexibility. On the mental level, it kind of opens up this black box of my personality that I can then look into. And I've received some interesting insights from yoga.
Such as?
They're not so easy to explain. It's a tool for gaining almost a second perspective on myself. That is my own perspective, but perhaps it's a little bit more objective.
I'm wondering if you think that perspective on yourself, to what extent it's useful in your daily life.
Mm-hmm. I think it inherently makes you more compassionate, more patient, more understanding. To be aware that your own viewpoint, your own consciousness is just one in a whole big pool of them. And each one is basically equally as valid as the other. I'm constantly thinking about the physical part of yoga. But the fact is that the physical part is kind of minor. It doesn't really matter, whether I'm getting a little bit healthier or a little bit more flexible. I mean, how much of an impact does that really have on my life? I think what would really matter is if it gave me something else, no matter how subtle, that would be more powerful
for me to take with me through the rest of my life.
In the weeks and months following the end of the formal yoga project, I remember feeling frustrated by the fact that Kate was somehow disappointed in me.
You know, I'm pretty sick of yoga.
I don't know whether to feel naive believing in the possibilities of yoga.
Are you ready?
Well, you know what you gotta do? Go fuck yourself.
Or too cynical.
Yogi is the boogeyman.
Had I missed an opportunity to let yoga change my life?
Practice, practice, practice.
The channels are open both ways, I'm telling you now.
Or fooled myself by ever thinking it was possible in the first place?
You will have to question yourself, where can we get that happiness?
Frequently, I tell people that the yoga experiment failed. But the truth is, it has had an impact. How big? I don't know.
Nick and I speak on the phone from time to time these days. He seems much more enlightened since he got me off his back. He doesn't practice yoga anymore, but his life is very different. I'm just glad he's happy. I still try to practice yoga every day. It keeps me whole. Nick was right, though. Yoga has no simple definition. And that's the beauty of it. It's funny. We scoured the globe looking for answers to lists of our questions. What is yoga? Is yoga spiritual? Does it lead to enlightenment? Etc. It just goes to show, sometimes you find the answers to your questions. And sometimes you find much more. Reminding myself of this is a daily practice.
I'm here, you are here, we are here, they are here, everyone is everywhere, no one is nowhere, we're all somewhere, there is no out there, you are here.
What brought me to practicing yoga? A supreme being.
It really kicked my ass.
Just started bursting out in tears.
Sweating or crying, who knows?
Why do you practice yoga?
Wow.
I don't know, it gets the dwarfs going or something.
She's saying this one goes out to the long commute back, and then the song starts. She turns off the microphone and she says to herself, is anybody listening? And I'm here, you are here, we are here, they are here.
I sleep better.
To feel better.
A fit vessel to serve God more.
Opening me up spiritually.
A spiritual thing for me.
I
I practice yoga in every waking moment as best as I can.
At least 2 times a day. They won't let me take more.
I'll do yoga for the rest of my life.